Hello, learners of class 12. I am Balgopal Mahapatra, lecturer in physics. Welcome to all to this lecture on electromagnetic induction. In our previous lecture, we have studied detail about your first part of this electromagnetic induction, and there we have gone through what is electromagnetic induction, on the basis of which laws electromagnetic induction takes place and it occurs, and how it is useful. We have gone through your Faraday's laws, Lentz's law, and how EMF is induced due to change in magnetic flux linked with this particular coil or a particular circuit. And today we will start from the different methods of producing induced EMF. Then we will go through eddy currents, self-induction, and then mutual induction, and the different relations in connection with that. So now let us start with the first method of producing induced EMF. EMF can be induced by changing magnetic induction B. The reason is that we know that your magnetic flux linked with a circuit phi equal to BA cos theta, where theta is the angle between area vector and direction of B, right? And here B is the magnetic induction and A is the area. So either by changing B or by changing, you may say A, either by changing B or A or theta, one may change the magnetic flux linked with a circuit. And as per your Faraday's law, EMF is induced in a circuit so long as change in magnetic flux is continued. So we may say magnetic flux can be changed by changing magnetic field B, and hence EMF is induced in the circuit. Second thing, one can induce EMF by changing the area of the coil A available in the magnetic field. It may be a loop, it may be a coil, it may be a circuit. Then magnetic flux can be changed by changing that area of the loop which is acted upon by the magnetic field, and hence EMF can be induced in the circuit. So here you see, this is a uniform magnetic field represented by this cross and encircled by small circles. Uniform magnetic field represented by this cross, and here you see there is a loop PQRS. You mark the loop was PQRS. This is the initial position of the loop. Again, I shall back to the previous one. This is the initial position of the loop, and when the loop is moved into the field, you mark what happens. At that time there is a change in area dA. There must be, due to this motion with velocity v represented by this green arrow, there is a change in area by dA. What is the change in area? Change in area is dA when the loop PQRS is slided into uniform field which is perpendicular to it. So the magnetic field is perpendicular. Here you may say the magnetic field, if the loop is moving this way, magnetic field is perpendicular to it. Magnetic field is perpendicular to it. And the change or increase in area of the coil under the influence of the field, as I had already told to you, is dA in time dt. It is dA in time dt. And due to this, there is an increase in magnetic flux by d phi. And if dx is the small distance moved in time dt, then what will be the velocity? Rate of change of displacement or distance, it should be dx by dt. Now d phi equal to how much? B dot dA. Angle between B and dA vector both are parallel. Magnetic field is perpendicular to the surface, so it will be parallel to area. So d phi will be equal to BA cos 0, means it is finally BDA, and here dA is length into dx. Here you see this L, this is L, this is the length L, so this is L, and this small displacement, new position is represented by P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime, and initial position is P, Q, R, S. So this SR prime or PQ prime, it will be dx. So increase in area, dA will be equal to L dx. But you know, V equal to dx by dt, so dx equal to V dt. In place of this dx, here V dt is substituted. Okay, so we may get d phi equal to BL V dt. So from this expression, what will be d phi by dt? D phi division dt BLV. Here we have written BLV. But according to Faraday's law, induced EMF E is the negative rate of change of magnetic flux linked with the circuit. And we have obtained from this relation d phi by dt equal to BLV. Therefore, induced EMF equal to minus BLV. So when a rectangular wire, you may say, it is, or loop you may say, it is introduced into the field in a perpendicular direction, this is the expression for the induced EMF. So sometimes numerical problem may be asked, VL, V may be given, you have to calculate E, or E may be given, B might have been given, L might have been given. One is to calculate what will be the velocity V. Now in this case, the induced EMF is definitely due to the motion of the loop, hence it is called as motional EMF. That is to say, motional EMF is one sort of induced EMF. And if the loop is pulled out of the magnetic field, in the first case it was moving right to left in the direction of the cursor I am moving. If it is moved away towards right, if it is moved away, then induced EMF will be negative of minus BLV. Negative of minus BLV means it is plus BLV. So when the loop is pulled out of the magnetic field, then E equal to minus plus, then induced EMF E will be equal to BLV, magnetic induction into length of the loop into velocity. Okay, so direction of the induced current is anticlockwise in the loop, that is in the first case it is anticlockwise in the loop, that is P prime, S prime, R prime, Q. P prime, S prime, R prime, okay, P prime, Q prime, P prime, S prime, R prime, Q prime, P prime. This is the direction. Okay, this is the direction. Again I am representing, showing the cursor. It will be the direction of the induced EMF according to Fleming's right hand rule or Lenge's rule. According to Fleming's rule or Lenge's rule. What is Lenge's rule? It states that the direction of the induced current is such that it opposes the cause which produces it. Which one is producing the induced current? Changing magnetic flux. So direction of the induced current is such that it opposes the cause of changing magnetic flux. So here the cause of changing magnetic flux is due to the motion of the loop and increase in area of the coil in the uniform magnetic field. Therefore, this motion of the loop is to be opposed. So the current is setting itself such that according to Fleming's left hand rule, the conductor arm PS experience a force to the right, whereas the loop is trying to move to the left, as already it has been explained to you. Against this force, what will happen? Some work has to be done. So the force that is being experienced by it, against that force, some mechanical work has been done, some energy is to be expended, which is converted to electrical energy in the form of induced current. So it is on the basis of, again, law of conservation of energy. One point to be noted here, that if the loop is completely inside the boundary of the magnetic field, if the loop is completely inside the boundary of the magnetic field, then there will not be any change in magnetic flux and there will not be any induced current in the loop. That is to say, just back to the previous case, if the entire loop is completely inside the boundary, it is stationary, it is not moving at all, then no change of magnetic flux will occur, then no EMF will be induced. That is our point of discussion here. Now, what is Fleming's right hand rule? According to Fleming's right hand rule, if you stretch the first finger, thumb and the central finger of your right hand in mutually perpendicular direction, you mark first finger, the thumb and the central finger of your right hand in mutually perpendicular direction, then if the first finger may be called as forefinger, first finger represents magnetic field, thumb represents the direction of force, then the direction of electric current will be given by tip of the central finger. Electric current means it is the induced current. You may remember by the trick F, first finger for field, F for field, first letter, F for force, first letter, and central finger C, central finger C, current. You may remember it. So, according to Fleming's right hand rule, if the central finger, forefinger or first finger and the thumb of our right hand are stretched in mutually perpendicular direction such that first finger points to magnetic field, thumb points to force, then the central finger points to the direction of the induced current in the conductor. Okay. Now let us see how one can change magnetic flux or induce EMF by changing the orientation of the coil theta in magnetic field. This theta, it is the angle between direction of magnetic field and the area vector. Okay, so that we may say theta is change means the relative orientation of the loop with the field B is changed. Hence, EMF can be induced in the circuit without any doubt. You see, this is a uniform magnetic field represented by the line of force which are parallel to each other. B, field is uniform represented by equispaced and parallel line of force. Arrow mark gives the direction of the force. Here suppose there is a rectangular loop as shown in the figure. Here suppose it gets rotated through an angle theta with angular velocity w. You see the initial position again. It rotates through an angle theta. The loop is PQRS, rotates about an axis with angular velocity. If n cap is the normal to the surface area, it rotates through an angle theta. Again, you see, for your understanding clearly, this is the initial position of the loop. Okay, and it is about an axis rotating. PQRS rotates with angular velocity w, making an angle with V. How you can know what is the angle with V? You draw a unit vector to the surface area n cap, and that n cap makes an angle theta. So it is the angle between B and surface area. So if it is one turn, if it consists of one turn of the coil or of the loop, then flux associated with it will be BA cos theta. But if it will have n turns, the flux linked with this coil due to the uniform magnetic field is NBA cos theta, right? And at the beginning, at time t, with angular velocity w, you know, w will be equal to theta by t. Rate of change of angular displacement is your angular frequency or angular velocity. So this angular velocity theta will be equal to omega t. And in the beginning, as I had told to you, at t equal to 0, loop is assumed to be perpendicular to the magnetic field. And at that time, theta equal to 0. Before this position, the initial position that we have taken, which is perpendicular to the field, at that time theta is 0. But after theta, after it rotates through an angle theta in time t, this position we are showing, this is the new position after time t. So phi will be equal to NBA cos omega t, because substituting this theta by omega t, we get phi equal to NBA cos omega t. Now let us differentiate phi with respect to time. So what we will get? D phi by dt will be equal to minus NBA omega sine omega t. Because differentiating cos omega t, you will get minus omega sine omega t. Let us apply Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. What is induced EMF? Minus d phi by dt. You obtain d phi by dt to be minus NBA omega sine omega t. So just substitute here this value. So induced EMF will be NBA omega sine omega t. You see, number of turns is a constant, magnetic induction B, area A, angular velocity, all these quantities are constant. So which may be taken as a constant E0. Of course, if you change it, this E0 will automatically change. So let us take E0 equal to NBA omega. So E equal to E0 sine omega t. E equal to E0 sine omega t. You see, when sine omega t will have a unit value, when sine omega t is how much? 1. Then what will happen? E will be equal to E0. E will be equal to E0. So that is the maximum value. E equal to E0 means that is the maximum value of induced EMF. So E0 is the maximum EMF. Okay. Now the EMF will change continuously in magnitude and periodically in direction. If you see to this expression E equal to E0 sine omega t, you go on changing the value of omega t, 0, then pi by 4, pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 4 and so on, go on changing. If you change here, you see magnitude will change continuously but direction will change periodically, means after equal interval of time direction will change. And finally, if you plot a graph taking your that omega t or time period with induced EMF, you will get a graph like this. You see the graph. Here the graph shows that a waveform graph, EMF increases, becomes maximum corresponding to omega t equal to pi by 2 or after time interval t by 4, then decreases to 0 after half time period, then becomes maximum but in the negative direction. If in the positive direction at quarter of a time period t by 4, if it is E4, after 30 by 4 it will be here minus E4, then it starts increasing in the becomes 0. So that negative maximum EMF becomes 0, again becomes plus E0 and so on. So this shows variation of omega t or t with induced EMF. So its direction alternates after every t by 2 seconds. Direction, it is in the positive half up to t by 2 seconds. After t by 2 seconds, after time t, it is in the negative half. Again it goes to positive half. Again it goes to negative half. Means direction changes periodically. Direction alternates periodically. So we may say induced EMF is generally alternating in character or it is an alternating EMF. If initial position of the coil is taken as 0, that is normal to the coil is 90 degree with the magnetic field, then theta becomes theta plus pi by 2 and you already know theta equal to omega t, theta plus pi by 2 means omega t plus pi by 2. So what is E0? E0 will be equal to E0 cos omega t. Why? You see in the previous page here we have observed that in this particular case E0 equal to E0 sine omega t. So in place of this omega t, if you place omega t plus pi by 2, what is sine omega t plus pi by 2? Cos omega t. Sine omega t plus pi by 2 is cos omega t. Therefore here we obtain this particular expression that if this angle is omega t plus pi by 2, then E will be equal to E0 cos omega t. Right? I think very well you can understand this point. And similarly you may plot a graph taking omega t or time along x-axis and EMF along y-axis. This graph is again alternating in character, but slight difference is there due to this cosine factor, you may say. Here you see alternating EMF, here it is becomes maximum at t by 4. Here also it is t by 4. but just one of it starts from the peak value here. Here it starts from the origin here. Okay, so alternating EMF is generally represented by these two graphs as is shown. And consequently, what will be the current? You know, EMF when divided by the resistance of the circuit E by R becomes current I. Similarly, maximum value of EMF E0 by resistance R of the circuit become I0. So current consequently is alternating in character. I equal to I0 sin omega t or I equal to I0 cos omega t. Again you plot a graph. If you plot it taking time or omega t along x-axis, and instead of E here I will be taking, shape of the graph is again alternating in character. Okay, so we may say alternating EMF and consequently alternating current can be expressed as a sine function or cosine function of an angle that depends on time. And this method of induced EMF is best, it is the basic principle of generators, or you may say dynamo. This E equal to E0 sin omega t, it is the method, it is the formula that can be applied for the theory of generators or dynamo. Now, what is eddy current or Foucault current? The induced circulating currents produced in a solid metal due to change in magnetic field or magnetic flux in the metal are called eddy current. Here you see it is a metallic block, okay, and here it is in the magnetic field B. So here generally in the solid metal, if the magnetic field is changed continuously, metal is fixed but magnetic field is changed, then a current which is circulating this way, you mark, it flows. This is called looping current or circulating current. So this is the current flowing in closed path. This will be called as Foucault current or eddy current. These are eddy current. Again here you see how the current is circulating here. How the current is circulating, you mark. Just current is circulating, that is the eddy currents. Okay, and here generally you may observe this eddy current also if you take a cylinder, okay, and generally that cylinder will be rotated in a magnetic field. That cylinder in the that conducting cylinder, if it is rotated in a magnetic field, then also current will flow in closed circuit or in looping current will flow. To that also we may say as your eddy current. So what are the different applications of this eddy current? First one, it is used in induction furnace for melting iron. For melting iron, it is used in induction furnace. Number two, in speedometers, eddy current are used to measure the instantaneous speed of the vehicle. Number three, in deadbeat galvanometer, eddy currents are used to stop the damping of the coil in a shorter interval. It is used to stop the damping of a coil in a very small time. And the electric brake that is used in train, what will happen in those electric brake of the train? Eddy currents are produced to stop rotation of the axle of the wheel. So eddy currents are responsible for application of brakes in trains. And in energy meters, that those will be generally in watt meter, eddy currents are used to measure the consumption of electric energy. And in diathermy, eddy currents are used for localized heating of tissues in human bodies. In the field of medical science, you may say in diathermy, your eddy currents are used for localized heating of tissues in human bodies. So here we may say this is nothing but inductothermy, this one. But the brake that is used in your trains, that may be called as your also magnetic brakes, right? So these are few applications. Now one important phenomenon, that is self-induction. What is self-induction? It is very important. It is the phenomenon or property of a particular circuit. Your self-induction, it is the phenomenon of inducing EMF in the coil due to change in current and hence the change in magnetic flux in the coil. In other words, self-induction of a circuit, it is defined as the property of the circuit by virtue of which it tends to oppose a change in the strength of the current. It tends to oppose a change in the strength of the current through it by inducing an EMF in itself. Anyway, in either way, you may define it. The induced EMF opposes the growth or decay of current in the coil and hence delays the current to acquire the maximum value. Why delay? Due to its opposing character. Delay is due to its opposing character. So, we may say self-induction is also called as inertia of electricity. Why? Because it opposes the growth or decay of current. One question is commonly asked, why self-induction will be called as inertia of electricity? The reason is that it opposes the growth or decay of current. Hence, it is one type of inertia in electricity. Electrical inertia, you may say. Now, what is self-inductance or coefficient of self-induction? Now, here you see, if current flowing through a circuit increases, current flowing through the coil increases, then magnetic flux linked with it will also be increased accordingly. So, you may say phi is directly proportional to current I. Introducing a constant of proportionality L here, phi will be equal to Li, and here L, the constant of proportionality, is called self-inductance or coefficient of self-induction of the coil. Right? Now, if I equal to 1 ampere say, then L will be equal to phi. So, this provides a definition of self-inductance. What is that? That it is defined as the magnetic flux linked with a coil due to a unit current flowing through it. If unit current flows through it, then L equal to phi. Also, we know according to Faraday's law, E equal to minus d phi by dt. Now phi equal to Li. Substitute here, minus dy dt of Li. So E equal to minus L di by dt. Right? Now, if di by dt equal to 1, current is changing at a unit rate. Here, put di by dt equal to 1, then you get L equal to minus E. So, this will provide you another definition of coefficient of self-induction or self-inductance. That is, it is defined as the induced EMF set up in the coil through which the rate of change of current is unity. Now, what is the unit of self-inductance in SI? As Henry has explained first of all about this phenomena of property of self-induction, SI unit is Henry. And from this previous formula, phi equal to Li, here you see, or this E equal to minus L di by dt, if suppose here current di by dt is changed at 1 ampere per second, change at a rate of 1 ampere per second, for which induced EMF is 1 volt, then inductance will be said to be 1 Henry. So, self-inductance is said to be 1 Henry when 1 ampere current in a coil links magnetic flux of 1 Weber. That we get also from phi equal to Li. जो फॉर्मूला में पाइले phi equal to Li, सेठू हमें इटा पाई परिवा. जो फॉर्मूला हमने डिराइव किया क्या, phi equal to Li. If you say I current is 1 ampere, then and such that your EMF flux linked with it is 1 Weber, then L will be said to be 1 Henry. Okay. And the second definition will be, as it is told to you, E equal to minus L di by dt. From that we can frame this definition that self-induction is said to be 1 Henry when unit rate of change of current induces EMF of 1 volt in the coil. Unit rate means in SI it will be 1 volt. So after having idea about self-inductance, let us find What is the self-inductance of a solenoid? Here you see this is a solenoid, okay? A coil wound over a core here, it is a solenoid, and here suppose A is its area of cross section, its length is L, current I is flowing through it, A is the area of cross section, and applying your Biot-Savart's law, we can find magnetic field due to solenoid is B equal to mu 0 n I. What is that? B equal to mu 0 n I. Remember, this is I. Mu 0 is the permeability of free space, n is the number of turns of this coil or solenoid, and I is the current flowing through it. But magnetic flux linked across one turn of the coil is BA, and if substitute this B, mu 0 Ni, so mu 0 Ni A. But number of small n, it is not only number of turns, it is this small n is the number of turns per unit length. If total number of turns of this coil is capital N, L is the total length, then N by L, it is the number of turns per unit length, and for this N you substitute N by L, so you get phi equal to mu 0 N I A by L. This is L, this one is I. Then magnetic flux linked across n turn. This is for one turn or phi per turn. For n turn, what will happen? Just you multiply to this expression with n. So instead of this n, you will get n square. So phi equal to mu 0 n square Ia division L. But phi equal to Li. Coefficient of self-induction into current. So I replace here Li. Here right hand side I, left hand side I gets neutralized, cancelled. So L, the self-inductance will be mu 0 n square A by L. And this is mu 0 n square A by L. And if small n and capital N relation we will concentrate, you see capital N will be small n into L. So n square will be equal to small n square A, L square by L. So that gets cancelled. You will get mu 0 n square A. So that's the expression for self-inductance of a solenoid. Okay, this is the expression for self-inductance of a solenoid. Now let us find what will be the energy stored in an inductor, or what will be the energy of an inductor. When current increases through an inductor, an EMF is induced in it. Okay, and that EMF opposes its increase. So we know that current can only increase if some energy is spent from outside. So to increase current through an inductor due to the opposition of the induced EMF, that increase of current will be maintained if some energy is spent from outside, and that energy is stored in the inductor as energy, which we call energy in the inductor as per law of conservation of energy. Now if current changes at the rate of di by dt, L is the self-inductance, then EMF induced in the coil is E equal to minus L di by dt. Suppose E prime is the applied EMF which does certain work to increase the current, to maintain the increase of current. So it must be opposite to the induced conductor, induced EMF. So applied EMF E prime and induced EMF are equal and opposite. If it is plus E, induced EMF, applied EMF will be minus E. Minus E equal to minus L di by dt. Minus of minus L di by dt means plus L di by dt will be E prime. Suppose dW is the small work done in a small time dt. Then what is the power in the circuit? E prime I. Means that will be equal to rate at which energy is expended. E prime I will be equal to dW by dt, and already we have seen E prime equal to L di by dt. just in place of E prime substitute L di by dt. I is there, so dw by dt will be equal to L di by dt into L. Solving this equation, you will arrive at the expression dw will be equal to Li di. Now, to find what is the net work done to increase the current from 0 to some maximum value I0. From 0 to some maximum value I0, just you integrate this expression. Integrating dw, you will get w. Right hand side Li di will be integrated from 0 to maximum current I0. So, after integration, it will have value half Li from limit 0 to I0. Put that limit half Li square from limit 0 to I0. So, it is half Li0 square. This work done is stored in the inductor as energy, which we generally call as energy of the inductor. Okay. Now, this is the case for one coil or one circuit. Another phenomenon is associated when there will be two coil, current will change in one circuit and EMF will be induced in the other. At that time, the property or phenomena due to which changing current in one coil will induce an EMF in the second coil, that is called as mutual induction. So, to repeat it again, mutual induction is the phenomenon of inducing EMF in the secondary coil due to change in the current in the primary coil, and hence the change in magnetic flux in the secondary coil. So, question arises, what is a primary coil here? Primary coil is the circuit or the coil in which current is changing, and secondary coil, it is the circuit or the coil in which EMF is induced. Now, if you say current changing in the primary is I1 and EMF induced in the secondary due to change of magnetic flux phi due to change of current I1 through it, let us denote it by phi to 1. So, if current I1 is more, phi to 1 is more, we may say phi to 1 is directly proportional to I1. So, introducing a constant of proportionality, what should we get? Mi1. What is that M? It is the constant of proportionality. This is called mutual inductance or coefficient of mutual induction of the two circuits, of the two coil. It is the property of the two coil, you remember. It is the phenomena associated with the two coil. So, now, if you substitute here I1 equal to 1, obviously you will get M equal to phi to 1, to which you may also take, no problem, phi. That is to say, mutual inductance is defined as the magnetic flux linked with the secondary coil when unit current flows through the primary coil. Mutual inductance, it is the phenomena, or it is defined as the magnetic flux where M equal to phi or phi to 1 linked with the secondary when unit current flows through the primary. Again, what will be EMF induced? E2. That E2 will be equal to minus d phi 2 by dt. Substitute this phi 2 equal to Mi1 here. Phi 2 1 equal to Mi1. So, E2 will be equal to minus M di1 by dt. No problem. From this you can also define mutual inductance. If di1 by dt equal to 1, then M will be equal to minus E2. So, mutual inductance is defined as the magnitude of induced EMF set off in the secondary coil when the rate of change of current in the primary is unity. Okay, we may take magnitude because M equal to minus E2. So, in like manner to your self-inductance, SI unit of mutual inductance after the name of scientist Henry is Henry with its symbol is H. How to define? Mutual inductance is said to be 1 Henry when 1 ampere current in the primary links magnetic flux of 1 Weber across the secondary coil. This will be from this formula. Phi to 1 will be equal to Mi1. If I1 equal to 1 ampere, phi 21 equal to 1 Weber, then M will be equal to 1 Henry. Similarly, from the second formula, E2 equal to minus M di1 by dt, if current change at a rate of 1 ampere per second, di1 by dt equal to 1 ampere per second, that induces an EMF of 1 volt, then M will be 1 Henry. Right? So that is to defined as, or mutual inductance of two coil is said to be 1 Henry when the unit rate of change of current, that is 1 ampere per second in primary, induces an EMF of 1 volt in the secondary. So let us calculate now what is the mutual inductance of two coaxial solenoid. This is one solenoid coil wound over a core. Another coil will be wound over it. They will have a common axis. In the two colors here you mark, one is primary, other is secondary. Blue is primary. Again, this other one, it is secondary. And both will have a common axis. These are two solenoids. And here across them is connected a galvanometer G. And the length of the coil is L here. Area of cross section is A. And due to this, here you see current changing in the one, suppose I1 is the current changing in primary, then what will happen? This will induce an EMF in the secondary. This will induce an EMF in the secondary. How? Here you see magnetic field due to primary solenoid, as per our previous calculation, you know, it will be mu 0 N1 I1. N1 is the number of turns per unit length of the primary. L1 is its length of the primary. So phi 21 here we may say magnetic flux linked across one turn of the secondary coil, that is phi 21. Magnetic flux linked across one turn of the secondary coil will be V1A. Substitute this V1. It will be mu 0 N1 L1A. This mu 0 N1 substituted here. Mu 0 N1 L1 A. Again N1 is the number of turns per unit length. This one N1 equal to capital N1 by small l. So substituting this we will get mu 0 capital N1 I1 A and L. In like manner, what will be magnetic flux across n turns of the secondary of the solenoid? It is N1, it will be N2 turn, not N turn rather. For the secondary coil, suppose for the primary, total number of turns is capital N1, and for the secondary, total number of turns is capital N2. It should be capital N2. So just multiply N2 here. So phi 21 will be equal to, this is, as this is for 1 turn, this first one is for 1 turn. For N2 turn, what will happen? Mu 0 N1 N2 I1 A by L. Okay. So here we may say your M21 will be equal to this much accordingly, substituting this value. Similarly, M12 will be equal to mu 0 N1 N2 A by L. So this is equal to mu 0 N1 by L N1 N2 AL. After solving this, we will get this equation. So for two long coaxial solenoid of same length and cross-sectional area, the mutual inductance is same, and it leads to the principle of reciprocity. That is, M12 will be equal to M21